We're joined by Mr. Tony Gosling, historian and investigative journalist, who is joining us live out of Bristol. Thank you very much, Mr. Gosling. Now, what is your take on the situation in Turkey? How far do you think these escalations can go on? This was the fifth night in a row, and how do you see the developments in the coming days?
Well, look, jailing your opponents, or else, just as has happened in Romania, using lawfare to stop them running against you, is a sure sign that democracy is crumbling around the world. I mean, I was actually reminded, seeing this, about Imran Khan. People forget about him as the Prime Minister of Pakistan. Is now rotting in jail. Well, he's not rotting. I'm sure his spirits are as high as they could be. But I'm afraid this is because we have massive superpowers around the world squaring up for World War III, and they're making it impossible for countries to really be independent. They're supposed to pick sides in this Third World War style conflict, and also, of course, if you look around that region, I mean, Turkey's in a bit of an awkward place. In terms of the Middle East conflict and the Ukraine conflict. It's right in the middle. And the Turks have had a really difficult history in that area, having to sort of square the circle between East and West. So even if you go back to the First World War, where we had the collapse of the Ottoman Empire, we then had Mustafa Kemal Ataturk between 1923 and 1938 ruling Turkey. He secularized the country, brought it away from Islam, but he was a Freemason. And this is a sort of plot, really, to try to expunge Islam from the country. And of course, you could possibly say a similar kind of thing is going on in Pakistan, as I mentioned, with Imran Khan. So they're in a very awkward place. The West, much of the West, is demonizing Islam. It's trying to destroy countries which have got an Islamic background. But there's also, of course, we must remember the coup attempt in 2016 there. So Erdogan, I think, is acting more or less like a king. He knows that in order to stay in any way an independent country, Turkey is going to have to kind of put down any attempts to take the place over, because they know that the West is always trying to buy the influence in these countries, whether it's with protest groups, civil society groups, or political parties.
Okay, so Mr. Gosling, how do you see the future for Turkey, and particularly for Mr. Erdogan?
Well, it's difficult, because who knows which way he's going to go. One bonus for Turkey is that they're able to be making a lot of money, pushing goods through from the West to up to, because it's a NATO country, up to Russia, and increasing the price of them as they go. But of course, the evidence is from this that potentially that this mayor is working for another country. Who knows? It really is impossible to tell. One thing's for sure: the Turkish people are getting shortchanged. And you're right to ask how is this going to go? I think it looks as if Turkey's going to have to become more authoritarian. But the question is, will it continue to remain as independent of East and West, because they're in such an awkward place there? Remember, they've got Interlik Air Base, which has got a whole load of American, almost certainly nuclear weapons in there, so it's supposed to be part of NATO, but they're trying not to fall out with the Russians. And also, of course, they're very close to the conflict in the Middle East. The Turks are also looking to grab land in northern Syria right now, to sort of grab back some of the land the British took off them in the First World War. So it's a very fragile situation, and I think it's important that the Turkish opposition finds a way to convince more and more people that it is in the right and that it's going to maintain Turkey as an independent state. Otherwise, either the Russians or the Western European nations will grab Turkey for themselves.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tony Gosling, historian and investigative journalist, joining us out of Bristol.